Israel just celebrated a once-in-a-lifetime event, the return of the red heifer. Not just once in a lifetime, but for the first time in almost 2,000 years. Their return was met with euphoria, celebration, raised eyebrows, and even criticism. Some said it is a sign that the end times are upon us, as the Temple Institute continues preparations to lay the ground for the construction of the third temple in Jerusalem. We have a lot to talk about this. What does a red heifer have to do with rebuilding the Holy Temple? How could a simple animal play a vital role in the success or failure of such a monumental event? What's the significance of the realization of a few verses in Numbers that we've read, but never had to see happen until now? Watch till the end as you answer all these questions and many more. When 5 red heifers arrived in Israel the week of September 12, 2022, a big excitement resonated across the globe. 5 spotless red heifers were bred and transported by Christian farmers in Texas and handed to the Temple Institute in Jerusalem. Jewish rabbis examined and certified the heifers. A crowd of around 300 people greeted the entrance of these 5 red heifers. The shofar, a horn used in Jewish rites, was blown by one person. The red heifers have been placed on a farm near Haifa. What made this event so thrilling? What is the purpose of red heifers in Israel? Every few years, a red heifer, red cow, is born in Israel, leading some to believe that Jesus' return is imminent. Why is this the case? What does a red heifer have to do with the end of the world? Before we get into that, it's important to understand the importance of a red heifer in the Bible. Saints have been thinking about Christ's return, his second advent, since the Apostle Paul's epistle to the Thessalonian church in AD 51. 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verses 13 through 18. Some Christians place a premium on everything they believe will happen around the time of Christ's return. Their eschatological views are defined by several signs and prophecies from their Bible interpretation. The arrival of pristine red heifers announces a 2,000-year-old occurrence. Orthodox Jews who want to rebuild the Third Temple and reintroduce the Old Testament sacrifice system need crimson heifers in order to restart ceremonies. Some Christians believe that the biblically specified perfect red heifer symbolizes more than that. It heralds the end of the age. What is the Bible's take on red heifers? Numbers chapter 19 verses 1 through 10 gives God's instruction to Moses and Aaron about red heifers, red female cows. The Israelites were to bring a blemish-free cow that had never borne a yoke. Unlike previous gifts given inside the camp, the priest Eleazar had to slay the red heifer outside the camp. Eleazar was then instructed to take some of its blood with his finger and sprinkle it 7 times in front of the gathering tent. Numbers chapter 19, verse 4. At that moment, the whole red heifer, including its manure, would be burnt in front of Eleazar. Along with the red heifer, the priest would then add cedar wood, hyssop, and crimson yarn to the fire. The why of the scarlet yarn or wool is a mystery. The supervising priest would only return to the camp after bathing and washing his garments. He would be filthy until the evening. Similarly, whomever burnt the red heifer was required to wash his garments, bathe, and stay unclean until dusk. The ashes of the red heifer were subsequently retrieved by a clean man and deposited in a clean area outside the camp. The ashes are then to be retained by the Israelite community for use in the water of purifying. It is a purification from sin, according to the Bible. Numbers chapter 19, verse 9. The person who collected the ashes would have to wash his garments and would be unclean until sunset. This will be a permanent ordinance both for the Israelites and the foreigners dwelling among them, the Lord stated. Numbers chapter 19, verse 10. Once the Israelites had appropriately preserved the red heifer's ashes, they would utilize them to purify unclean individuals. Numbers chapter 19, verses 11 through 22 describes a significant method for someone to become unclean. touching dead corpses, as well as how to mix the ashes with clean flowing water and sprinkle the mixture with hyssop on the individual to be cleansed. What is the purpose of red heifers in Judaism? According to the Jewish learning, the Hebrew phrase for red heifer is para aduma, and the ashes of the red heifer are utilized for cleansing ceremonies. Most Orthodox Jews still want to do this purifying procedure. The lines in Numbers detailing the ceremony are included in the last reading of the Shabbat Para, the Sabbath of the red heifer, in the modern-day Torah reading. The Sabbath of the red heifer falls on the final Shabbat of Adar, just before Passover. The most recent Sabbath of the red heifer occurred on March 25, 2022. The next one will take place on March 10, 2023. Anyone entering the temple must be clean, since spiritual purity is so important in the Old Testament. According to the Jerusalem Post, these purifying requirements indicate that Orthodox Jews will need red heifers before they can construct the third temple. They strive to follow the Lord's words to the letter as their dream of building the third temple comes true. Do red heifers have end-time importance? For Christians who believe in the premillennial interpretation of eschatology, the arrival of even one rabbi-approved red heifer in Jerusalem implies the rapture is nigh. They believe that during the end times, a third temple will be erected, after which all other predicted events will occur. The advent of the red heifer heralds the approach of the Messiah, according to Judaism. According to one Jewish tradition, the Messiah only mentions 9 completely red heifers used between the period of the Tabernacle and AD 70, when Roman soldiers destroyed the Second Temple. The arrival of a probable 10th flawless red heifer raises hopes for the Messiah's coming and the reconstruction of the temple. The 10th animal, according to Jewish philosopher Maimonides, would only be located and sacrificed when King Messiah was ready to emerge. Observant Jews look forward to the fulfillment of Ezekiel chapter 36, verses 25 through 26, known as the Haftarah. According to adherents, this scripture discusses God's purification, a cleanse from human depravity. According to this interpretation, God will shower clean water on them to cleanse them of their sins before giving them a new heart and a new spirit. This regeneration of the individual and the country embraces the Passover idea of redemption in Judaism. There are 4 primary branches of contemporary Judaism. While Reformed and Reconstructionist Jews try to modernize Judaism by reinterpreting the Torah and other Judaistic traditions, conservative Jews adopted practically everything of the Torah. Orthodox Jews take it a step further, insisting on ancient rites as far as they can be followed in contemporary society. The absence of a temple in Jerusalem restricts the extent to which traditional rites may be done. The original temple, built by King Solomon, was destroyed during the Babylonian invasion. When King Darius allowed the Jews to return to Judea, Ezra and Nehemiah detailed the construction of the Second Temple. The temple remained until the Romans demolished it, thanks to minor modifications by Herod the Great. As we await the prophesied Messiah, Orthodox Jews are in the forefront of efforts to build the Third Temple in Jerusalem. These activities involve creating temple plans, creating temple instruments and furnishings, and identifying Levi priests. All of these components are now in place. The priests are undergoing training from the Nezer Akodesh Institute of Quranic Studies. Many Jews turn to Haggai, whose author was engaged in the building of the Second Temple, for their assurance of peace after the temple was completed. Haggai chapter 2, verse 9. Even with the arrival of the 5 red heifers, issues might arise. Some Orthodox Jews believe that the sacrifices cannot take place until the ashes from the original red heifer are mingled in with the fresh ashes. Others point out that the Temple Institute previously believed it had spotless red heifers, yet those heifers acquired flaws. Anything less than flawless will be rejected. Furthermore, the red heifer must be sacrificed before the animal reaches its 3rd year. So if the 5 Texas-raised red heifers mature with even one hair of a different hue, the thrill will fade. Even if the heifers pass inspection and are utilized, Orthodox Jews want the new temple to be built in the same location as the old one. Unfortunately, as has been argued several times, the Muslim Al-Aqsa Mosque rests directly on the site where Solomon's temple is said to have stood. Jews who want the third temple constructed believe that their Messiah King will come to reign after the temple is finished. The issue is, where will it go? Premillennial Christians believe that the completion of the third temple, whenever and wherever it is constructed, heralds the arrival of the end times. The ash of the red heifer commandment in the Bible is an interesting topic. Consider this. The ashes of the sin sacrifice were mixed with fresh spring water. One of the first things to notice is the need for water as a purification agent. According to Numbers, chapter 19, verse 17, the ashes were to be placed in clean spring water, and the water is still a symbol utilized in churches today, not just for baptisms, but a laver of consecrated water at the entry of the sanctuary in certain faiths. The laver served as a reminder in the Old Testament that purification is required before approaching God. The application for Christians today is that we are forgiven via Messiah's sacrifice on the cross. We are cleaned through baptism and His Word. We must cleanse our minds and souls every day by reading His Word in order to serve and minister before Him. The red heifer is a genuine sin sacrifice. According to Revelation, chapter 11, verses 1 through 2, the predicted Israeli-Palestinian peace deal, indicated in Daniel, chapter 9, verse 27, will put the Temple Mount under a sharing system between Muslims and Jews. Israel may construct her third temple without upsetting Muslim sacred sites. When the temple is finished, animal sacrifices will be made, exactly as they were in the Old Testament. And that is all for today's video. We sincerely hope you enjoy this video. Which of these revelations was most shocking to you? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed our content, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to our channel for more amazing videos like this one. We'll be back with more. Until then, signing out.